The iron collar around your neck weighs more than the chains on your feet. As consciousness returns, you realize the familiar warmth of your bed has been replaced by rough straw that reeks of blood and fear. Through the dim light of a Norse longhouse, you see other figures huddled in corners, hollow-eyed, broken, some missing limbs. Welcome to your new existence as a Viking thrall. 9th century Norway. You are no longer human. You are property worth less than a farm animal. And death would be a mercy you'll spend years begging for. The first sensation that penetrates the fog of consciousness isn't pain. Though discomfort will soon become your constant companion. It's the weight. The iron collar around your neck is thick and deliberately heavy, designed not just to mark you as property, but to remind you with every breath that your previous life has ended completely. Your hands instinctively reach for the collar, only to discover that your wrists bear matching. Iron cuffs connected by a short length of chain. The metal is crude but functional, bearing the marks of a blacksmith who valued durability over comfort. When you try to lift your arms, the chain rattles with a sound that will define the rhythm of your new existence. The straw beneath you tells its own story of previous occupants, through various stains and odors that speak to the basic realities of human confinement. This isn't a guest room or even a prison for criminals. It's a holding area for human property awaiting assignment to productive labor. Through the dim light filtering through gaps in the wooden walls, you can see other figures sharing your circumstances. A woman perhaps your own age sits against the far wall, her eyes focused on something beyond the physical confines of your shared space. Her dress, once probably a fine woolen garment, now bears the marks of rough handling and extended wear. An older man rocks back and forth nearby, mumbling what might be prayers in a language you don't recognize. His appearance suggests recent injury, though the wounds seem to be healing under the basic care that valuable property receives when medical attention serves economic interests. A young person who appears barely adult lies curled in another corner, and their quiet presence adds another layer to the human cost of the circumstances that have brought you all to this place. Their collar is smaller than the adult versions, specially forged for someone whose productive years stretch decades into the future. The door to your confinement opens with the groan of iron hinges that haven't known oil in recent memory. The figure who enters fills the doorway with the casual confidence of someone who owns everything he surveys, including the people in it. He's unmistakably Norse, tall, broad-shouldered, with the kind of well-maintained beard that speaks of good nutrition and the leisure to maintain it. His clothes mark him as a man of substance, wool and leather, and fur that represent more wealth than most people see in their lifetimes. The sword at his side isn't just functional but beautiful, with decorative work that probably costs more than entire households could afford. But it's his expression that truly identifies his role in your new reality. He surveys the assembled people with the same look a farmer might use when evaluating livestock. Not cruel, exactly, but completely without recognition of shared humanity. You represent an investment to him, tools that breathe and can be trained to work. Up, he says in accented but understandable language. Time to understand your value. The other people in your situation struggle to their feet with the careful movements of those who have already learned the consequences of hesitation. You force yourself upright as well, though the weight of the collar and chains makes even this simple movement awkward and exhausting. The man introduces himself as Gunnar Ironside and explains that he's considered a reasonable master by the standards of his people, a distinction that will prove both accurate and deeply unsettling as you learn what reasonable means in the context of human ownership. You belong to me now, he states with the matter-of-fact tone someone might use to discuss weather. Your previous names, families, occupations, and beliefs are no longer relevant to your circumstances. What matters now is your capacity for useful work and your ability to learn the expectations of your new position. The casual dismissal of everything that once defined your existence delivers a psychological blow more devastating than physical. Force could provide. In a few sentences, he's erased your identity, your history, your relationships, everything that made you a person rather than simply a breathing tool. You have new designations now. Gunnar continues, assigning new identities based on apparent physical characteristics or perceived capabilities rather than individual identity or personal preference. The names he chooses are deliberately functional rather than personal, reducing complex human beings to simple descriptions of their expected utility. The process transforms the psychological landscape of your existence by replacing personal identity with functional designation. You're no longer a person with a name, history, and relationships. You're a category of worker whose value lies entirely in productive capacity. Now, Gunnar concludes, let's discuss the principles that will govern your new life. Gunnar leads your group through the complex of buildings that will define the boundaries of your existence for the foreseeable future. The structures are larger and more sophisticated than anything you've previously encountered, demonstrating the wealth that successful enterprises have brought to those positioned to benefit from organized labor systems. A good worker, Gunnar explains as you walk, apparently believing that education will improve the return on his investment, represents a significant economic commitment. The initial cost must be justified through productive output over many years of service. The framework he describes treats human beings like any other capital investment, requiring careful management to ensure adequate return on resources committed to acquisition and maintenance. Your survival and treatment will depend entirely on economic calculations, rather than moral considerations or humanitarian concerns. Investment protection requires proper management, he continues, pausing at workshops where other people in similar circumstances are engaged in various forms of productive activity. Healthy workers produce more than sick ones. Trained workers produce more than untrained ones. Motivated workers produce more than those who lack incentives. Through the doorway, you can see perhaps a dozen people engaged in different types of productive activity. Some are processing agricultural products, others are working with textiles, and a few are engaged in crafts that require specialized skills. All wear the same iron collars. All move with the careful efficiency of people whose survival depends on meeting expectations. Sustenance costs must be balanced against productivity. Gunnar explains, stopping at storage areas where supplies are kept under careful management. Adequate nutrition enables work capacity, but excess consumption reduces profitability. The balance requires constant attention to changing circumstances. The nutritional program he outlines provides enough food to maintain work capacity without waste on unnecessary comfort or satisfaction. Meals are calculated to provide energy for labor while minimizing costs that don't contribute to productive output. Training represents investment in future productivity. He continues, gesturing toward areas where people are learning skills that will increase their economic value. Education that improves work capacity justifies its cost through increased output. Learning that doesn't serve productive purposes wastes resources. The educational framework focuses entirely on skills that serve the enterprise's needs, rather than individual development or personal interest. Knowledge acquisition becomes another form of economic activity, rather than intellectual or cultural. Enrichment. Discipline maintains order and efficiency. Gunnar observes, indicating areas where behavioral expectations are enforced through systematic consequences. Consistent expectations reduce confusion while improving productivity. Clear consequences for inappropriate behavior benefit everyone by maintaining functional work environments. The management system he describes prioritizes efficiency and predictability over individual preferences or comfort, creating environments optimized for productive output rather than human satisfaction or personal development. Medical care serves economic interests. He explains while showing you facilities where health issues are addressed according to cost-benefit analysis. Treatment that restores work capacity justifies its expense. Care that doesn't improve productivity represents poor resource allocation. The healthcare approach treats human bodies like equipment requiring maintenance to ensure continued functionality. Medical decisions are made based on economic calculations rather than humanitarian concerns or individual comfort. Social relationships must serve enterprise needs, Gunnar continues, discussing how personal connections are managed to support, rather than interfere with productive activity. Associations that improve work performance benefit everyone, relationships that reduce productivity create problems that require correction. The social management system acknowledges human needs for connection while ensuring that all relationships serve economic rather than purely personal purposes. Individual emotional needs remain subordinate to enterprise efficiency and productive output. Your previous life ended when you became part of this enterprise. Gunnar reminds you as the orientation concludes. Your new life begins with understanding that value lies entirely in contribution to collective productivity. Success depends on embracing this reality rather than resisting it. The philosophical framework reduces human existence to economic function while eliminating any consideration of individual rights, personal autonomy, or inherent human dignity that doesn't serve productive purposes. The overseer who assumes responsibility for your group is himself someone who has risen through the ranks of the system. Though his iron collar bears decorative elements that mark his elevated position within the organizational structure, his name, you learn, is Ragnar, not his original identity, but the designation he's carried for the 15 years since joining the Enterprise. I've been part of this organization for 15 years. He tells you with neither pride nor shame, simply stating a fact about his experience. I remain here because I learned the expectations quickly and have helped others do the same. Your success depends on understanding that there are protocols for everything, and following them has consequences that extend beyond individual outcomes. Ragnar's role demonstrates how the system creates opportunities for advancement within its structure while maintaining the fundamental relationships that define everyone's position relative to the enterprise and its leadership. The first principle, he explains as he leads you to work areas where you'll spend most of your time, is that people work in groups, you eat together, work together, sleep together, and succeed or struggle together. Individual actions affect group outcomes, so the group has interests in helping everyone meet expectations. The collective responsibility system creates social pressure for mutual support and performance, monitoring while building relationships that serve enterprise productivity rather than purely personal satisfaction. The second principle, Ragnar continues, stopping at a workshop where people are engaged in preparing equipment for maritime activities, is that information flows upward and instructions flow downward. You report observations, concerns, and suggestions to me. I decide what needs attention from higher management. Questions and complaints are addressed through proper channels. The communication hierarchy ensures that leadership maintains awareness of operational conditions while preventing the development of communication networks that might serve purposes other than enterprise efficiency and productivity. The third principle, he says, pausing at an area equipped for addressing behavioral issues, is that correction serves educational purposes. When someone receives guidance about performance or behavior, everyone learns from the experience. The lesson is always about meeting expectations and contributing to collective success. The accountability system extends beyond individual consequences to include community education about standards and expectations, creating shared understanding of requirements while building culture that supports enterprise goals. Some people have difficulty adjusting to organizational life, Ragnar observes. matter-of-factly as you pass areas designed for intensive support during transition periods. Adaptation challenges are normal and addressable through appropriate interventions. Success requires accepting guidance rather than resisting the adjustment process. The support system acknowledges that transition to organizational life requires significant psychological adaptation while providing resources designed to facilitate acceptance rather than enabling resistance to established structures. Productive members sometimes earn recognition through improved conditions. Ragnar explains, gesturing toward people whose clothing and equipment suggest enhanced status within the system. Better accommodations, easier assignments, additional privileges. These improvements reflect performance and can be modified based on changing circumstances. The incentive system creates motivation for exceptional contribution while ensuring that all improvements remain conditional and revocable, based on continued performance rather than representing permanent advancement in status or rights. New. People often maintain unrealistic expectations. Ragnar observes with something that might be understanding if it weren't so carefully controlled. They expect family contact, personal autonomy, or eventual release from organizational obligations. These hopes usually fade during the first year, which improves adjustment and productivity. The expectation management process involves systematic elimination of external connections and future plans that might interfere with full commitment to organizational life and enterprise productivity. I work with new people because I'm effective at facilitating adjustment, Ragnar explains as the orientation tour concludes. My success rate, the percentage of assigned individuals who complete transition successfully, exceeds average performance. This makes me valuable to the organization and provides me with security and recognition. His explanation reveals how the system creates incentives for experienced members to facilitate others. Adaptation while building loyalty through recognition. And advancement opportunities that serve enterprise interests. Your success depends on learning quickly. He concludes, the organization has invested in you and expects return on that investment. People who fail to meet expectations face reassignment to different roles or transfer to other enterprises. With different standards, the tour ends where it began, but you understand that you're no longer the same person who started it in the space of a few hours. You've been systematically educated about the realities of your new life. As part of an economic enterprise that treats human potential as manageable resource rather than inherent individual capacity, your first full day as part of the organization begins before dawn, announced by a signal that cuts through whatever rest might have provided temporary escape from your new circumstances. The sleeping arrangements are communal. A large, efficiently designed space that houses dozens of people, with minimal privacy but adequate protection from weather. The sleeping surfaces are simple but functional, designed to provide necessary rest without unnecessary comfort. Personal space doesn't exist in any meaningful sense. You share living quarters with many others, all of whom are adjusting to similar changes in their life circumstances. Up calls an experienced member who coordinates morning activities. Though most people are already responding to the wake-up signal, mealtime. The morning nutrition consists of carefully portioned food designed to provide energy for productive work without excess that might reduce efficiency. The portions are measured to meet calculated needs rather than individual appetite or satisfaction. Eat efficiently, advises the person managing breakfast distribution. Work assignments begin when nutrition period ends, not when individual preference suggests readiness. Work assignments are distributed based on a combination of physical capability, demonstrated skills, and current organizational needs. Today, you're assigned to support maritime operations, hauling equipment, processing catches, and maintaining tools used in water-based economic activities. The work crew consists of 8 people under supervision by someone who treats the group as a production unit rather than a collection of individuals. He explains tasks clearly and monitors performance with attention focused on output quality and efficiency rather than personal comfort or satisfaction. Maritime products support community nutrition. The supervisor explains while demonstrating proper equipment handling. People who don't eat don't work effectively. Workers who don't work effectively don't contribute to community welfare. The cycle is straightforward, and your role in it is clear. The work itself requires significant physical effort. Equipment is heavy, especially when full of products. Boats must be managed through human effort. Products must be sorted, processed, and prepared for preservation, all manually, all while maintaining pace that meets production expectations. Your hands, unaccustomed to this type of activity, quickly develop sensitivity that makes every grip challenging. The work environment includes irritants that affect exposed skin, and the processing requirements create minor injuries that make continued work uncomfortable, but not impossible. Discomfort teaches proper technique. The supervisor observes when he notices you're developing hand problems. Tomorrow your hands will function better because today they're learning correct procedures. The midday nutrition is provided in the work area, simple food and water, consumed without significant pause in productive activity. There's no rest period or opportunity to recover from morning effort. The break exists only to provide energy for continued work. The afternoon brings different tasks but maintains the same focus on efficient productivity. Products must be prepared for long-term storage through processes that require speed and accuracy. Materials that spoil due to inadequate processing represent lost value, and people who cause waste face consequences designed to improve future performance. Efficient hands make valuable workers. The supervisor comments while monitoring your progress. Slow hands reduce productivity and create problems for everyone. The warning isn't metaphorical. People who consistently perform below acceptable standards become economic problems that require solution through reassignment, additional training, or transfer to situations with different requirements. Evening brings another portion of simple food and return to communal sleeping areas, but not rest. People are expected to maintain their equipment, care for their clothing, and perform personal maintenance tasks that prevent health problems from affecting work capacity. Rest when possible. Ragnar advises as darkness settles over the community. Tomorrow brings new work requirements, and fatigue reduces performance more than it improves recovery. Sleep comes in fragments, interrupted by the sounds of many people sharing close quarters, coughing, movement, quiet conversations. Some people pray to whatever spiritual frameworks still provide comfort. Others simply stare at the ceiling, processing the reality of their changed circumstances. You lie on your simple sleeping surface, cataloging the new discomforts that will become normal parts of daily existence. The weight of the iron collar, the irritation from work-related injuries, the ache in muscles unaccustomed to sustained physical effort. But more challenging than physical discomfort is the growing understanding that this day isn't an exception or temporary experience. This is your life now. Every day will begin with the same signal, the same simple food, the same assignment to work that serves organizational needs rather than personal interests. Every night will end with the same basic sustenance, the same fatigue, the same return to sleeping arrangements that prioritize efficiency over comfort. The person you used to be is being systematically replaced by someone adapted to serve organizational purposes rather than individual goals. The body learns to function under these conditions, but the spirit faces challenges that require completely new approaches to meaning and purpose. 3 weeks into your new life, you've begun to understand the sophisticated organizational principles that govern daily existence within this enterprise. The structure isn't arbitrary cruelty, but rather systematic efficiency designed to maximize productivity while maintaining order and predictability. Physical adaptation has occurred more quickly than expected. Your hands have developed protection against the constant friction of work tools. Your muscles have strengthened to handle sustained labor. Your body has adjusted to the nutritional program and work schedule that initially seemed impossible to sustain. Good adaptation. Ragnar observes while reviewing your performance. You're learning to function efficiently instead of wasting energy on resistance. That's what separates people who succeed here from those who struggle. The organizational structure creates opportunities for recognition and advancement based on demonstrated competence and reliability. People who excel at their assigned responsibilities receive additional responsibilities that come with improved conditions and enhanced status within the community. Work assignments have evolved to include more complex tasks as your capabilities have been evaluated and developed. Instead of simply moving equipment, you're now involved in planning and coordination, activities that require judgment and decision-making within established parameters. Competent people receive appropriate responsibilities, explains the supervisor while assigning you to equipment maintenance tasks that require skill and attention to detail. Trust develops through demonstrated reliability and responsibilities increase as capabilities prove themselves. The social dynamics among community members reflect both cooperation and competition as people balance mutual support with individual advancement opportunities. Relationships form based on shared work requirements and common circumstances, but they remain functional rather than deeply personal. We help each other when it serves mutual interests, explains another community member while sharing techniques. For managing work-related challenges, cooperation improves everyone's performance, but individual success remains the primary consideration. The organizational culture emphasizes practical wisdom over emotional expression, encouraging people to focus on what they can control rather than lamenting circumstances they cannot change. This approach reduces psychological stress while improving adaptation to community life. Spiritual practices within the community have adapted to circumstances that challenge traditional religious frameworks. Some people maintain connections to their previous beliefs, while others develop new approaches to meaning and purpose that serve their current circumstances. The divine tests different people in different ways, explains someone who serves as informal spiritual counselor for community members struggling with questions of faith and meaning. Our test involves serving faithfully within the circumstances we've been given. Educational opportunities exist for people who demonstrate aptitude and interest in learning skills that serve organizational needs. Literacy, mathematics, and specialized crafts are taught to individuals whose development would benefit the enterprise. Knowledge that serves community purposes receives investment, explains the person responsible for skill development programs. Learning that improves productivity benefits everyone through enhanced capabilities and improved outcomes. Community governance operates through established protocols that balance individual needs with collective requirements. Decisions about resource allocation, work assignments, and behavioral standards are made through consultation between leadership and experienced community members. Effective organization requires clear expectations and consistent implementation, observes a senior community member during a planning discussion. When everyone understands their role and its requirements, the entire system functions more efficiently. Conflict resolution systems address disputes and disagreements through mediation processes designed to restore harmony while maintaining productivity. Problems between community members are resolved through discussion and compromise rather than confrontation. Living successfully with others requires communication and flexibility, explains the mediation process during a situation involving disagreement about work assignments. When people can't avoid each other, they must learn to work together constructively. Health maintenance receives attention proportional to its impact on work capacity and community welfare. Basic medical care is provided to address issues that affect productivity, while prevention programs help maintain general health standards. Healthy people work more effectively than sick people. Observes the person responsible for health programs. Preventive care costs less than treating problems after they develop. So maintaining good health serves everyone's interests. Recognition. Systems acknowledge exceptional performance and contribution to community welfare through improved accommodations, enhanced status, and additional privileges that reflect value to the organization. Merit receives recognition when it serves community. Purposes. Explains how advancement opportunities work within the organizational structure. People who contribute more receive more, both as reward and as incentive for continued excellence. Your own position within this system has stabilized at a level that provides security and reasonable comfort while requiring consistent performance and behavioral conformity. The arrangement offers predictability and purpose within clearly defined boundaries. Stable membership requires accepting organizational principles while contributing consistently to collective success. You reflect while considering how adaptation has affected your understanding of purpose and satisfaction. Success means finding meaning within circumstances rather than resisting them. 6 months into your community membership, you've experienced the full cycle of seasonal changes that define the agricultural and maritime economy supporting this organizational structure. Each season brings different work requirements, different survival challenges, and different opportunities. To observe how the system adapts to changing circumstances, spring brought intensive maritime activities. When community members spend extended periods on boats or coastal areas, processing the products that provide nutrition for the entire community. Throughout the year, the work is physically demanding and sometimes involves risk. But it also provides opportunities to develop specialized skills. Spring productivity determines annual food security, explains the supervisor while organizing intensive fishing operations. Successful seasons provide nutrition for everyone. Poor seasons create challenges that affect the entire community. The seasonal work patterns require maximum effort during critical periods, with extended work days and intensive coordination among team members. Everyone contributes according to their capabilities, understanding that collective success depends on individual performance during crucial periods. Summer brought agricultural responsibilities, planting, maintaining, and harvesting crops that supplement maritime nutrition with land-based food sources. The long northern days mean extended work periods that take advantage of optimal growing conditions. Summer light enables maximum productivity. Observes the agricultural coordinator during 18-hour workdays that characterize peak growing season. Efficient use of favorable conditions ensures adequate food supplies for the entire year. The extended work periods push everyone to their physical limits while providing sense of accomplishment and community achievement. The understanding that winter survival depends on summer productivity creates powerful motivation for exceptional effort. Autumn brought harvest activities. When the year's agricultural work converts into stored nutrition that will sustain the community through winter months, the work is urgent and intensive. Crops must be gathered and preserved before weather conditions threaten their viability. Harvest success determines winter welfare, explains the preservation coordinator while organizing intensive food processing activities. Effective preservation techniques ensure adequate nutrition during months when fresh food isn't available. The harvest period requires maximum cooperation and coordination, with every community member contributing to preservation activities that serve collective survival. The shared understanding that everyone's winter depends on autumn success creates exceptional teamwork and mutual support. Winter brings reduced external activities and increased focus on internal projects, equipment maintenance, skill development, and community activities that maintain morale during months of limited daylight and outdoor opportunities. Winter provides opportunities for improvement and preparation. Observes the community coordinator while organizing educational and maintenance activities. Time not spent on immediate production enables investment in capabilities that will serve future productivity. The seasonal cycle creates natural rhythms that provide structure and anticipation while connecting the community to environmental patterns that transcend individual circumstances. Understanding these cycles helps people find meaning in repetitive work patterns. Seasonal awareness connects us to natural patterns that are larger than individual concerns. Reflects an experienced community member during winter planning activities. When we align our efforts with environmental cycles, work becomes cooperation with natural forces rather than struggle against them. Your own seasonal experience has provided opportunities to develop different skills while contributing to various aspects of community welfare. Spring maritime work developed physical strength and coordination. Summer agriculture taught patience and attention to long-term results. Autumn harvest showed the satisfaction of completion and preservation. Winter activities enabled learning and reflection. Each season teaches different lessons while serving community needs. You observe while participating in winter planning discussions. Variety in work prevents monotony while developing multiple capabilities that serve different purposes. The seasonal rhythm also provides psychological framework for understanding time and progress within community life. Instead of focusing on individual advancement or external goals, you've learned to find satisfaction in contributing to seasonal cycles that serve collective welfare. Community success provides more reliable satisfaction than individual achievement. You reflect while considering how adaptation has affected your understanding of accomplishment and purpose. When everyone's welfare depends on everyone's contribution, individual success becomes meaningful through service to others. The approaching return of spring brings anticipation and preparation rather than anxiety about repetitive cycles. Understanding your role in seasonal patterns provides sense of purpose and belonging that transcends individual circumstances. Preparation for recurring challenges enables confidence and competence. You observe while reviewing lessons learned. During your first complete seasonal cycle, when you understand what's required and have demonstrated capability, future challenges become opportunities rather than threats. 1 year into your community life, the spiritual dimensions of existence have evolved into complex relationships with meaning, purpose, and transcendence that reflect both human needs for significance and the practical requirements of daily survival within organizational structures. Traditional religious frameworks have faced significant challenges when prayers for different circumstances remain unanswered, and when spiritual authorities provide guidance that emphasizes acceptance rather than change. Faith requires adaptation to serve current circumstances rather than hoping for different ones. The divine works through existing circumstances rather than changing them according to individual preferences. Reflects the community's spiritual counselor during discussions about faith and meaning. Our spiritual challenge involves finding purpose within our situation rather than seeking escape from it. Some community members have developed philosophical approaches that interpret their circumstances as spiritual discipline rather than arbitrary hardship. This framework provides meaning for difficult experiences while offering hope that patient endurance develops character and wisdom. We learn through experience what we could never understand through comfort. Explain someone whose theology has evolved toward acceptance of current circumstances as meaningful rather than accidental. Challenges that seem purely negative often teach lessons that easier circumstances cannot provide. Other community members have embraced practical spirituality that focuses on service to others rather than personal salvation or divine intervention. This approach provides daily opportunities for meaningful action while requiring no faith in supernatural rescue. Spiritual purpose exists in caring for others when caring for yourself isn't sufficient. Observes a community member whose religious practice has evolved toward practical ethics. When you can improve someone else's circumstances, even slightly, your life retains meaning despite limitations on personal advancement. Community spiritual practices blend elements from various religious traditions while addressing the specific needs of people whose circumstances differ significantly from those assumed by conventional religious frameworks. These hybrid approaches provide comfort while remaining realistic about practical limitations. All traditions recognize the importance of endurance, service, and hope. Explains the syncretic approach that many community members have developed. Differences between religions matter less than their shared commitment to finding meaning through service to others. Meditation and contemplation practices have developed as methods for achieving psychological peace within circumstances that cannot be changed through action or prayer. These techniques focus on acceptance and inner tranquility rather than external modification of circumstances. Peace exists in the mind when it's impossible in external circumstances. Explains someone who has developed sophisticated mental discipline. Techniques. When you can't control what happens to you, you can still control how you respond to what happens. Prayer practices, when they occur, have shifted from requests for rescue to expressions of gratitude for available resources and opportunities for service. This adaptation acknowledges current circumstances while maintaining spiritual connection and hope. Gratitude for what exists provides more peace than demands for what doesn't exist. Observe someone whose spiritual practice emphasizes appreciation rather than petition. When you can find reasons for thankfulness in any circumstances, you maintain spiritual health regardless of external conditions. Community spiritual life includes celebrations and observances that mark significant occasions while providing opportunities for shared joy and reflection. These events create positive experiences and strengthen social bonds within the community. Celebration becomes an expression of human dignity despite challenging circumstances. Explains the community festivals that mark seasonal changes and important occasions. When we create joy together, we affirm values that transcend immediate difficulties. The spiritual dimension of work has evolved to include understanding of labor as service, rather than simply economic necessity. This framework provides meaning for daily activities while connecting individual effort to community welfare. Work that serves others becomes spiritual practice. Reflects someone whose religious understanding has integrated practical service with spiritual development. When your effort benefits people you care about, labor becomes expression of love rather than mere obligation. Your own spiritual development has moved through several phases, beginning with confusion and disappointment, progressing through exploration of different approaches, and eventually settling into practical spirituality that finds meaning in daily service to community welfare. Meaning emerges from contribution to others' welfare when personal advancement isn't available. You reflect while considering how religious understanding has evolved during community membership. When you can't improve your own circumstances significantly, improving others' circumstances provides purpose and satisfaction. The community approach to mortality and meaning emphasizes legacy and contribution rather than individual achievement or external validation. This perspective provides framework for understanding life significance that doesn't depend on personal advancement or recognition. Impact that benefits others provides meaning that transcends individual circumstances. Observes the philosophical framework that is developed within the community. When your life serves purposes larger than personal satisfaction, meaning exists regardless of personal limitations or achievements. 2 years into your community membership, you've developed capabilities and expertise that reflect both adaptation to organizational requirements and discovery of personal talents that serve collective welfare while providing individual satisfaction. And recognition, work skills have evolved far beyond basic task completion to include specialized knowledge and advanced techniques that make you valuable to the community, while providing sense of professional accomplishment and personal pride. In craft excellence, competence develops through practice and necessity. Explains the master craftsman while reviewing your progress in woodworking activities. When you must learn new skills for community welfare, you often discover abilities you didn't know you possessed. The specialized knowledge includes understanding of materials, tools, and techniques that enable creation of high-quality products, while teaching approaches to problem-solving and innovation that serve various community needs. Agricultural expertise has developed through hands-on experience with planting, cultivation, and harvesting techniques that ensure food security, while providing connection to natural cycles and environmental stewardship responsibilities. Agricultural wisdom includes understanding how current practices affect long-term productivity. Explains the farming coordinator while discussing advanced cultivation techniques. When you work for community sustainability rather than immediate yield, you develop approaches that serve multiple generations. The agricultural learning includes soil management, plant biology, weather prediction, and resource conservation techniques that enable maximum productivity while maintaining environmental health and long-term sustainability. Craft abilities have progressed from basic production to sophisticated artisanship that creates items valued for both function and beauty, providing opportunities for creative expression while serving practical community needs. Craftsmanship excellence comes from understanding materials and techniques thoroughly enough to innovate and improve. Observes the workshop supervisor while reviewing advanced projects. When you master fundamentals, you can experiment with improvements that enhance both utility and aesthetic value. The craft development includes working with wood, metal, textiles, and other materials to create tools, furniture, clothing, and decorative items that serve community needs while providing outlets for artistic expression and personal satisfaction. Leadership responsibilities have evolved as demonstrated competence and community commitment have created opportunities for coordination and management. Roles within various organizational activities. Leadership within community means serving others' needs rather than pursuing personal advantage. Explains the principles that govern advancement opportunities. People receive authority because they've demonstrated commitment to community welfare rather than individual gain. The leadership roles include coordinating work teams, planning seasonal activities, managing resource allocation, and facilitating communication between different community groups and functions. Educational activities have become part of your responsibilities as knowledge and skills require transmission to newer community members and younger people who need training for future roles within the organization. Teaching multiplication community capabilities. Observes the principle that governs knowledge sharing within the community. When we develop everyone's potential, we strengthen the entire community's capacity for success and adaptation. The educational role includes formal instruction in specific skills as well as informal mentoring that helps people adapt to community life while developing their individual capabilities and contributions. Medical knowledge has developed through practical experience with health issues and treatment techniques that serve community health needs, while providing valuable expertise that contributes to everyone's welfare. Medical understanding developed through experience often proves more practical than purely academic knowledge. Explains the health coordinator while reviewing treatment protocols. When you understand wellness and illness from direct observation and practice, you can provide help that theoretical knowledge might miss. The medical learning includes herbal remedies, injury treatment, disease prevention, and health maintenance techniques that serve community needs while providing essential knowledge for individual and collective welfare. Technical innovation has emerged through necessity and creativity, developing new tools, improved techniques, and better solutions to recurring community challenges and requirements. Innovation emerges from understanding problems deeply enough to develop better solutions. Explains the approach to technological development within community life. When you must solve problems with available resources, you often discover approaches that are superior to conventional methods. The technical development includes equipment design, process improvement, resource conservation, and efficiency enhancement that serve community productivity while providing intellectual satisfaction and practical advancement. Community service has become integral to your identity and purpose, providing opportunities to contribute to collective welfare while developing skills and relationships that serve both individual growth and organizational needs. Service to others provides purpose that individual achievement cannot match under these circumstances. You reflect while considering how community membership has affected understanding of meaning and satisfaction. When your efforts benefit people you care about, work becomes expression of connection rather than simple obligation. The integration of multiple skills and responsibilities has created professional identity that serves community needs while providing personal fulfillment and recognition within the organizational structure. Competence that serves others creates value that transcends individual circumstances. You observe while reviewing the various capabilities that have developed through community membership. When you can contribute meaningfully to collective welfare, your life has significance regardless of personal limitations or external recognition. 3 years into your community life, the relationships you formed represent complex human connections that provide emotional sustenance, practical support, and social meaning within the structured environment of organizational life. Friendship has developed along lines of shared work experiences, compatible personalities, and mutual support during challenging periods. These relationships provide emotional anchoring while offering practical benefits through cooperation and shared knowledge. Good relationships make difficult circumstances manageable. Reflects your closest friend within the community while discussing how social connections affect daily experience. When people understand and support each other, individual challenges become shared problems with collaborative solutions. The friendship patterns reflect both genuine affection and practical necessity, as people who must work together daily need positive relationships to function effectively, while those relationships often evolve into authentic care and concern. Mentorship relationships have developed naturally as experienced. Community members provide guidance to newer arrivals while finding purpose and satisfaction in helping others adapt successfully to organizational life. Teaching others what you've learned, it gives meaning to your own experiences. Observe someone whose role has evolved toward helping newcomers understand community expectations and opportunities. When your knowledge helps someone else succeed, your own struggles become valuable rather than simply difficult. Professional partnerships have formed around shared work responsibilities, creating collaborative relationships that require coordination, trust, and mutual dependence, while often evolving into personal friendship and support. Working successfully with others requires understanding and accommodating different strengths and approaches. Explains the dynamics of effective teamwork. Within community projects, when people combine their capabilities effectively, everyone benefits from collective achievement. Family-like relationships have emerged among people who share living spaces, daily activities, and long-term community membership, creating emotional bonds that provide support and stability within organizational structure. Community becomes family when people choose to care for each other consistently over time. Observes the social dynamics that develop among long-term community members. Relationships based on choice and mutual support often become stronger than those based purely on biological connection. Romantic relationships do develop within the community, though they navigate complex considerations about community policies, practical limitations, and the understanding that personal relationships must serve collective welfare as well as individual happiness. Love exists within any circumstances when people choose commitment and mutual support. Explains how romantic relationships function within community life. Personal affection that contributes to community stability benefits everyone while providing individual fulfillment. Conflict resolution skills have developed through necessity, as people who cannot avoid each other must learn effective communication and problem solving, techniques that preserve relationships while addressing disagreements. Living successfully with others requires patience, communication, and willingness to compromise. Reflects the social skills that community life teaches through daily practice. When you can't escape disagreements, you must learn to resolve them constructively. Support networks have formed organically as people recognize that individual welfare depends on community health, and that mutual assistance serves both practical and emotional needs. Helping others through difficulties benefits everyone because individual problems affect community welfare. Explains the mutual aid systems that develop within close-knit communities. When we support each other effectively, we strengthen the social foundation that benefits all of us. Social activities and entertainment have developed as community members create opportunities for relaxation, celebration, and shared enjoyment that strengthen relationships while providing psychological relief from work responsibilities. Recreation and celebration affirm community bonds while providing necessary psychological balance. Observes the importance of social activities within community life. When people enjoy each other's company, they work together more effectively and support each other more readily. Cultural traditions have emerged that blend elements from various backgrounds, while creating new practices that reflect current circumstances and shared values within the community. Culture develops naturally when people live together and create meaning through shared experiences. Explains how community traditions evolve over time. Practices that strengthen relationships and provide meaning naturally become part of community identity. Leadership relationships have developed based on demonstrated competence and community commitment rather than formal hierarchy, creating informal authority structures that serve collective needs while providing recognition for valuable contributions. Authority based on service and competence creates more effective leadership than authority based on position alone. Reflects the leadership patterns that emerge within democratic community structures. When people lead through example and service, others follow willingly rather than reluctantly. Your own social position within the community has evolved from newcomer to established member, whose relationships provide both emotional fulfillment and practical support while contributing to others' welfare and community stability. Belonging emerges through consistent contribution and mutual support over time. You reflect while considering how community membership has affected your understanding of social connection and personal identity. When you invest in others' welfare and they invest in yours, genuine community develops naturally. 4 years into your community life, you've developed sophisticated understanding of how your organization fits within larger economic, political, and social systems that shape the context of daily existence, while influencing opportunities and constraints that affect community welfare. Economic relationships extend far beyond immediate community boundaries to include trade partnerships, resource exchanges, and market connections that link your organization to broader commercial networks throughout the region. Our community participates in economic systems that span vast distances. Explains the trade coordinator while discussing how products created within the community reach markets throughout Northern Europe. Understanding these connections helps us plan production and anticipate opportunities. The trade relationships involve exchanging community products for resources that cannot be produced locally, creating dependencies and opportunities that require careful management while providing access to materials and goods that enhance community welfare. Political dynamics affect community welfare through government policies, legal frameworks, and social systems that determine the rules within which your organization operates. While influencing relationships with other communities and institutions, political developments in distant places can affect our daily life through laws, taxes, and trade policies. Observe someone who monitors external political developments for their impact on community interests. Understanding these patterns helps us prepare for changes that might affect our welfare. The political awareness includes knowledge of legal systems, government authority, and social movements that might influence community security, economic opportunities, or social relationships. Social structures within the broader society create context for your community's existence while influencing how outsiders perceive and interact with community members and organizational activities. Social attitudes in the broader culture affect how others treat us and what opportunities are available to us. Explains the importance of understanding community reputation and social standing within regional society. Maintaining positive relationships with neighbors and authorities serves our long-term interests. Regional connections have developed as your community establishes relationships with other organizations and institutions that provide mutual benefits through cooperation, resource sharing, and collective problem solving. Partnerships with other communities strengthen everyone's capabilities while providing security through mutual support. Observes the benefits of regional cooperation and alliance-building activities. When communities help each other, everyone becomes more resilient and prosperous. Cultural influences from the broader society affect community development, while community practices sometimes influence regional cultural patterns through example and interaction with external groups. Cultural exchange benefits everyone when different communities share knowledge and practices that improve life for all participants. Explains how community innovations sometimes spread to other organizations, while external practices are adapted for community use. Environmental factors including climate, natural resources, and geographic features create opportunities and constraints that affect community planning while requiring adaptation strategies that account for natural conditions. Environmental awareness enables better planning and resource management. Observes the importance of understanding natural patterns and resources for sustainable community development. When we work with natural conditions rather than against them, we achieve better results with less effort. Technological developments in the broader society create opportunities for improving community life, while requiring evaluation of innovations for their compatibility with community values and organizational needs. Technology that serves community welfare deserves consideration, while innovations that create problems or dependencies require careful evaluation. Explains the approach to adopting external technological developments within community life. Educational connections with external institutions provide opportunities for knowledge exchange and skill development while maintaining community autonomy and commitment to collective welfare. Learning from others strengthens community capabilities when education serves our values and goals. Observes the benefits of selective engagement with external educational opportunities and knowledge sources. Military and security considerations affect community planning through awareness of regional conflicts, security threats, and defensive requirements that might influence community safety and stability. Security awareness enables appropriate preparation without creating unnecessary anxiety or paranoia. Explains the balanced approach to security planning that protects community welfare, while maintaining positive relationships with neighbors and authorities. Historical perspective provides context for understanding current circumstances, while learning from past experiences of similar communities and organizations throughout the region and previous time periods. Historical knowledge helps us understand patterns and possibilities while learning from others' successes and mistakes. Observes the value of studying how other communities have addressed similar challenges and opportunities. Future planning requires understanding trends and developments in broader systems while preparing for changes that might affect community welfare, security, or opportunities for growth and development. Planning for probable futures enables better decision-making in the present. You reflect while considering how understanding of broader systems affects community preparation and strategic thinking. When we understand the context within which we operate, we can make choices that serve our long-term interests. Your role in analyzing and understanding these broader systems has become valuable to community planning while providing intellectual stimulation and sense of contribution to collective welfare through knowledge and analysis. Understanding systems beyond our immediate experience serves community decision-making while providing individual satisfaction through learning and intellectual development. You observe while considering how this role has evolved within your community responsibilities. 5 years into your community life, you've achieved levels of competence and expertise that position you as valuable contributor while providing personal satisfaction through mastery of complex skills and knowledge that serve collective welfare. Professional mastery in multiple areas has developed through sustained practice and continuous learning, creating expertise that benefits the community while providing individual sense of accomplishment and recognition. Expertise that serves others becomes more meaningful than knowledge that serves only personal interests. Reflects the master craftsman while reviewing advanced projects that demonstrate sophisticated skill development. When your capabilities benefit people you care about, competence becomes service rather than simple achievement. The professional development includes advanced techniques in woodworking, agriculture, leadership, and education that enable high-quality contributions while providing opportunities for creative expression and innovation. Teaching responsibilities have expanded as accumulated knowledge and experience require transmission to newer community members and younger people who need training for future roles within the organization. Teaching multiplies community capabilities while giving individual knowledge lasting impact. Explains the education coordinator while discussing advanced instruction programs. When you help others develop their potential, your own learning serves purposes beyond personal advancement. The educational role includes both formal classroom instruction and informal mentoring that helps people adapt to community life while developing skills and knowledge that serve individual and collective needs. Leadership functions have evolved through demonstrated competence and community trust, creating opportunities to influence community direction while serving collective welfare through coordination and decision-making. Leadership within community means facilitating others' success rather than pursuing personal authority. Observes the principles that govern advancement to positions of responsibility. Authority that serves community welfare earns respect and support from people who benefit from effective leadership. The leadership responsibilities include strategic planning, resource management, conflict resolution, and external relationship management that serve community interests while requiring judgment and decision-making skills. Innovation and problem-solving have become regular parts of your contribution as experience and knowledge. Enable development of new solutions to recurring challenges and emerging opportunities. Innovation emerges from understanding problems deeply enough to develop better approaches. Explains the technical development coordinator while reviewing process improvements and new solutions. When you combine knowledge with creativity, you can solve problems that conventional approaches cannot address. The innovation work includes developing new tools, improving existing processes, and creating solutions to community challenges that require both technical knowledge and creative thinking. Specialized knowledge has developed in areas that serve specific community needs, while providing expertise that other communities might seek through consultation or collaboration agreements. Specialized knowledge becomes community asset when it serves collective needs while providing opportunities for external relationships. Observes how expertise can benefit both internal community welfare and broader regional connections. Cultural contributions have emerged through participation in community traditions, artistic activities, and social practices that strengthen community identity while providing outlets for creative expression and cultural development. Cultural participation contributes to community identity while providing individual opportunities for creative expression. Explains the importance of arts, traditions, and cultural activities within community life. Research and analysis capabilities have developed through sustained study of community needs, external opportunities, and systematic approaches to understanding complex situations and making informed decisions. Research that serves community decision-making provides more value than study that satisfies only personal curiosity. Reflects the approach to intellectual development that serves collective welfare while providing individual stimulation and growth. Mentorship relationships have multiplied as your knowledge and experience enable guidance for multiple newcomers, while creating networks of support and learning that strengthen community social structure. Mentoring others creates relationships that benefit both teacher and student while strengthening community bonds. Observes the social benefits of knowledge sharing and mutual support within community development. Quality improvement has become focus of your professional attention as experience enables recognition of opportunities for enhanced efficiency, better outcomes, and improved satisfaction in various community activities. Quality improvement benefits everyone through better results achieved with available resources. Explains the approach to continuous improvement that characterizes mature community systems and experienced contributors. Strategic thinking has developed through involvement in long-term planning, external relationship management, and complex problem solving that requires understanding of multiple factors and long-term consequences. Strategic thinking enables better decisions by considering multiple factors and long-term consequences. You reflect while participating in community planning activities that require analysis and foresight. External recognition has developed as your expertise becomes known beyond community boundaries, creating opportunities for consultation, collaboration, and knowledge exchange with other organizations and institutions. Recognition from external sources validates community approaches while creating opportunities for beneficial relationships. Observes how individual expertise can serve broader community interests through external connections and collaboration. Personal satisfaction has emerged from the integration of multiple capabilities, meaningful relationships, and significant contribution to community welfare that provides sense of purpose and accomplishment within organizational life. The personal fulfillment emerges from contributing meaningfully to others. Welfare through developed capabilities and sustained commitment. You reflect while considering how mastery and expertise have affected understanding of purpose and satisfaction within community life. 7 years into your community life, you've experienced multiple complete cycles of seasonal activities, community development, and personal growth that provide perspective on long-term patterns while demonstrating the sustainability and adaptability of organizational life. Seasonal mastery has developed through repeated experience with annual cycles, enabling anticipation of requirements and challenges while providing confidence in community's ability to adapt successfully to changing conditions. Each seasonal cycle builds on previous experience while teaching new lessons about adaptation and preparation. Observes the agricultural coordinator while planning for another spring planting season. Understanding patterns enables better preparation while maintaining flexibility for changing circumstances. The seasonal expertise includes weather prediction, resource planning, work coordination, and community motivation techniques that ensure successful navigation of annual challenges while building on accumulated knowledge and experience. Community evolution has occurred gradually as membership changes. Leadership develops and organizational practices adapt to changing circumstances, while maintaining core values and fundamental commitment to collective welfare. Community growth occurs through careful integration of new ideas with established principles. Explains the development coordinator while reviewing changes in community practices over multiple years. Evolution serves community welfare, strengthens organization while maintaining essential identity. The organizational development includes improved efficiency, enhanced capabilities, expanded relationships, and refined practices that serve community needs while building on successful experiences and learning from difficulties. Personal development has continued through exposure to new challenges, expanded responsibilities, and deeper understanding of community life while maintaining commitment to service and contribution to collective welfare. Personal growth within community serves both individual fulfillment and collective benefit. You reflect while considering how continued learning and development have affected both personal satisfaction and community contribution. When individual advancement serves community welfare, everyone benefits from personal development. Relationship deepening has occurred as sustained interaction and mutual support create stronger bonds, while shared experiences and common challenges build trust and understanding among community members. Relationships that survive multiple challenges become sources of stability and support that benefit everyone involved. Observes the social dynamics coordinator while discussing how long-term relationships contribute to community resilience and individual welfare. Skill integration has progressed as various capabilities combine to create comprehensive expertise that serves multiple community functions while providing opportunities for leadership and innovation. Integrated skills enable more effective contribution than specialized knowledge alone. Explains how combination of different capabilities creates enhanced value for community welfare while providing individual opportunities for advancement and recognition. Leadership maturation has developed through experience with decision-making, problem-solving, and community guidance while building trust and competence that enable greater responsibility and influence. Leadership effectiveness develops through sustained service and demonstrated commitment to community welfare. Observes the governance coordinator while discussing how authority and responsibility evolve within democratic community structures. Cultural contribution has expanded as participation in community traditions, artistic activities, and social practices provides opportunities for creative expression while strengthening community identity and social bonds. Cultural participation enriches community life while providing individual outlets for creativity and self-expression. Explains the cultural activities coordinator while planning celebrations and artistic projects that enhance community welfare. Educational impact is multiplied as teaching and mentoring activities affect multiple generations of community members while preserving and transmitting knowledge that serves long-term community needs. Educational contribution creates lasting impact that extends beyond immediate instruction. You observe while reviewing how teaching activities have influenced community development and individual growth over multiple years. Innovation legacy has emerged as problem-solving activities and creative solutions become part of community practice, while improving efficiency and capabilities for current and future community members. Innovation that serves community needs creates benefits that extend beyond immediate problem-solving. Reflects the technical development coordinator while reviewing how creative solutions have enhanced community capabilities and welfare. External influence has developed as community reputation and relationships create opportunities for positive impact on regional development while maintaining autonomy and commitment to community values. External relationships enable beneficial influence while maintaining community independence and commitment to collective welfare. Observes how community example and expertise can serve broader regional development while preserving organizational integrity. Future planning has become sophisticated through accumulated experience and understanding of long-term patterns while building on successful approaches and learning from challenges and difficulties. Long-term planning based on experience enables better decision-making while maintaining flexibility for changing circumstances. You reflect while participating in strategic planning that serves community welfare over multiple seasonal cycles and membership changes. Legacy consideration has emerged as awareness of lasting impact and contribution to community. Development creates motivation for decisions and actions that serve future community welfare rather than immediate personal benefit. Legacy thinking enables decisions that serve community welfare beyond individual participation. You observe while considering how current choices affect long-term community development and welfare for future members and generations. 10 years into your community life, you've developed deep understanding of human nature, organizational dynamics, and social principles that emerges from sustained experience with community life under challenging but ultimately meaningful circumstances. Human nature insights have developed through observation of how people adapt to community life, respond to challenges, and develop relationships within structured organizational environments. People reveal their essential character through how they respond to shared challenges and opportunities for service. You reflect while considering what community life has taught about human capabilities, limitations, and potential for growth and contribution. The human understanding includes recognition of how adversity can catalyze growth, how community support enables individual development, and how shared purpose creates meaning that transcends individual circumstances. Organizational wisdom has emerged through participation in community governance, problem-solving, and adaptation processes that reveal principles for effective collective action and sustainable community development. Effective organization requires balancing individual needs with collective welfare while maintaining flexibility for changing circumstances. Observes the governance principles that have evolved through community experience and democratic decision-making processes. The organizational knowledge includes understanding of leadership development, conflict resolution, resource management, and cultural preservation that enable community sustainability and growth. Social dynamics comprehension has developed through sustained interaction with diverse community members under various circumstances, revealing patterns of relationship formation, group cooperation, and collective problem-solving. Social harmony emerges from mutual respect, clear communication, and shared commitment to community welfare. Explains the relationship principles that enable successful community life and individual satisfaction within collective structures. Educational philosophy has evolved through teaching experience and learning from diverse community members, creating understanding of how knowledge develops and how education serves both individual growth and community welfare. Education that serves community needs while developing individual potential creates benefits that extend beyond immediate instruction. You observe while considering how teaching and learning have affected community development and personal understanding. Leadership understanding has developed through experience with various forms of authority and responsibility, revealing principles for effective guidance that serves collective welfare while enabling individual development and contribution. Leadership effectiveness depends on service to others rather than personal advancement. Reflects the authority principles that have emerged through community governance experience and observation of various leadership approaches. Economic wisdom has emerged through participation in community resource management, trade relationships, and productivity activities that reveal principles for sustainable prosperity and collective welfare. Economic sustainability requires balancing current needs with long-term welfare while maintaining relationships that serve mutual benefit. Explains the economic principles that guide community decision-making and resource allocation. Cultural insight has developed through participation in community traditions, artistic activities, and social practices that reveal how shared culture strengthens community bonds while providing outlets for individual expression and creativity. Culture that emerges from shared experience and values provides identity and meaning that strengthen community bonds. Observes the cultural development coordinator while discussing how traditions and practices enhance community life. Spiritual understanding has evolved through personal exploration and community discussion of meaning, purpose, and transcendence. within circumstances that challenge conventional religious frameworks, while requiring practical approaches to faith and ethics. Spirituality that serves community welfare while providing individual meaning enables both personal growth and collective flourishing. You reflect while considering how spiritual development has affected understanding of purpose and ethics. Ethical framework has developed through sustained experience with moral decision-making under community circumstances that require balancing individual conscience with collective welfare and practical necessities. Ethics that account for community welfare and practical limitations provide better guidance than abstract principles that ignore actual circumstances. Explains the moral philosophy that has evolved through community experience and ethical discussion. Communication skills have advanced through sustained practice with diverse community members in various situations, developing understanding of effective expression, active listening, and conflict resolution. Communication that serves understanding and cooperation enables better relationships and more effective community action. Observes the social skills coordinator while discussing how language and interaction affect community welfare and individual relationships. Problem-solving capabilities have developed through sustained experience with complex community challenges that require creative solutions, collaborative effort, and integration of multiple perspectives and capabilities. Problem-solving that combines multiple perspectives and capabilities achieves better results than individual effort alone. You observe while considering how community challenges have developed analytical and creative thinking skills. Future orientation has evolved through long-term community planning and understanding of patterns that affect community welfare, enabling strategic thinking that serves collective interests while accounting for individual needs and changing circumstances. Future planning that serves community welfare requires understanding patterns while maintaining flexibility for changing circumstances. You reflect while participating in strategic discussions that affect long-term community development and individual opportunities. Legacy consciousness has developed through awareness of how current decisions and actions affect future community welfare and individual development, creating motivation for choices that serve purposes beyond immediate personal benefit. Legacy thinking enables decisions that serve community welfare beyond individual participation while providing meaning that transcends personal circumstances. You observe while considering how community service creates lasting impact that extends beyond individual contribution. 12 years into your community life, your role has evolved toward guiding newcomers and developing future community leaders, while preserving and transmitting the knowledge, skills, and wisdom that enable successful community life and individual flourishing. Teaching methodology has developed through sustained experience with diverse learners, creating approaches to instruction that serve both immediate skill development and long-term understanding of community principles and values. Effective teaching requires adapting instruction to individual learning styles while maintaining focus on community needs and collective welfare. Explains the education coordinator while reviewing teaching techniques that serve both individual development and organizational requirements. The pedagogical approach includes hands-on learning, collaborative projects, mentorship relationships, and systematic skill development that enables both competence and understanding of underlying principles. Knowledge preservation has become priority as accumulated understanding about community life. Technical skills and organizational principles require systematic documentation and transmission to ensure continuity and development. Knowledge that serves community welfare deserves preservation for future members who will benefit from accumulated understanding and experience. You observe while developing documentation systems that preserve important information and insights. The preservation work includes written records, practical demonstrations, storytelling traditions, and systematic instruction that ensure valuable knowledge remains available to future community members. Leadership development has become focus of mentorship activities as identification and training of future. Community leaders require systematic attention to skill development and character formation that serves collective welfare. Leadership development serves community sustainability by ensuring competent guidance for future challenges and opportunities. Explains the governance coordinator while discussing succession planning and leadership training programs. The leadership training includes decision-making skills, communication techniques, conflict resolution methods, and ethical frameworks that enable effective service to community welfare. Cultural transmission has expanded through participation in traditions, artistic activities, and social practices that preserve community identity while adapting to changing circumstances and new member contributions. Cultural preservation requires active transmission from experienced members to newcomers while remaining open to beneficial innovations and adaptations. Observes the cultural activities coordinator while planning educational and celebratory events. Innovation mentoring has developed as technical knowledge and creative problem solving require transmission to people who will develop new solutions and improvements that serve future community needs. Innovation that serves community welfare benefits from systematic development and transmission of creative thinking skills and technical knowledge. You reflect while working with apprentices who will continue developing community capabilities. Relationship guidance has become part of mentorship activities as newcomers need instruction in community social dynamics, communication skills, and conflict resolution techniques that enable successful integration and contribution. Social skills that serve community harmony and individual satisfaction require instruction and practice with guidance from experienced community members. Explains the relationship counselor while discussing social development programs. Spiritual mentorship has evolved as questions of meaning, purpose, and ethics require exploration with guidance from people who have developed practical spirituality within community circumstances. Spiritual development that serves both individual growth and community welfare benefits from guidance from people who have navigated similar challenges and questions. Observes the spiritual counselor while discussing individual development and community spiritual life. Professional mentorship has expanded through apprenticeship programs that develop technical skills, while building understanding of work ethics and community service that characterize successful community membership. Professional development that serves community needs while providing individual satisfaction requires guidance from experienced practitioners who understand both technical requirements and community values. Explains the skills development coordinator. Community integration has become a systematic process that helps newcomers understand community expectations, opportunities, and resources while building relationships and developing capabilities that serve collective welfare. Successful integration requires systematic attention to individual needs and community requirements, while building relationships that serve both personal development and collective welfare. You observe while developing orientation programs for new community members. Future planning mentorship has developed as strategic thinking and long-term decision-making require instruction and guidance from people who understand community patterns and development needs. Strategic thinking that serves community welfare requires understanding of patterns, relationships, and long-term consequences that develops through experience and instruction. Explains the planning coordinator while discussing strategic development programs. Legacy preparation has become part of mentorship activities as awareness of lasting impact and contribution requires systematic attention to knowledge preservation and community development that extends beyond individual participation. Legacy thinking that serves community welfare requires systematic attention to knowledge preservation and institutional development that benefits future community members. You reflect while developing programs that ensure community sustainability and growth. Personal development guidance has expanded through counseling and support activities that help community members develop individual capabilities while maintaining commitment to collective welfare and community values. Personal development that serves both individual fulfillment and community welfare requires guidance that balances personal growth with collective responsibility. Observes the counseling coordinator while discussing individual development and community integration programs. Success evaluation has become a systematic process that assesses both individual development and community contribution while providing feedback that enables continued growth and improvement. Success evaluation that serves both individual development and community welfare requires systematic attention to both personal growth and collective contribution. You observe while developing assessment programs that enable continued improvement and development. 15 years into your community life, you've achieved complete integration into the organizational structure while maintaining individual identity and contributing to community development through leadership, expertise, and service that benefits collective welfare. Identity synthesis has occurred as individual personality, community role, and organizational responsibility integrate into coherent sense of self that serves both personal fulfillment and collective welfare. Personal identity that emerges from community service provides more satisfaction than identity based purely on individual achievement or external recognition. You reflect while considering how community membership has affected understanding of self and purpose. The identity integration includes professional competence, social relationships, spiritual development, and cultural participation that create comprehensive sense of belonging and contribution within community life. Authority acceptance has developed through demonstrated competence and community trust, creating opportunities for leadership and decision-making that serve collective welfare while providing individual recognition and responsibility. Authority that emerges from service and competence creates more effective leadership than authority based on position or external appointment. Observes the governance coordinator while discussing how leadership develops within democratic community structures. The authority role includes strategic planning, resource allocation, conflict resolution, and external relationship management that require judgment and decision-making skills while serving community interests. Expertise contribution has expanded as accumulated knowledge and skills enable significant contribution to community capabilities while providing individual satisfaction through meaningful work and recognized competence. Expertise that serves community needs provides more satisfaction than knowledge that serves only personal interests. Explains the master craftsman while reviewing how technical skills contribute to collective welfare and individual fulfillment. The expertise application includes technical innovation, problem-solving, education, and quality improvement that enhance community capabilities while providing outlets for creativity and professional development. Relationship mastery has developed through sustained interaction with diverse community members, creating deep friendships, professional partnerships, and mentorship relationships that provide social fulfillment while contributing to community welfare. Relationships that serve both individual fulfillment and community welfare provide more satisfaction than connections based purely on personal preference or convenience. You observe while considering how social integration has affected understanding of friendship and community. Cultural leadership has emerged through participation in community traditions, artistic activities, and social practices that preserve community identity while adapting to changing circumstances and new member contributions. Cultural leadership that serves community identity while enabling innovation provides opportunities for creative expression. And social contribution explains the cultural activities coordinator while discussing artistic and traditional activities. Educational impact has multiplied through systematic instruction, mentorship programs, and knowledge preservation activities that serve both current community needs and future development requirements. Educational contribution that serves community development while enabling individual growth, provides lasting impact that extends beyond immediate instruction. You reflect while considering how teaching activities have affected community capabilities and individual development. Innovation leadership has developed through creative problem solving, technical development, and process improvement activities that enhance community capabilities while providing outlets for creativity and intellectual development. Innovation that serves community welfare while providing individual satisfaction creates benefits that extend beyond immediate problem solving. Observes the technical development coordinator while reviewing improvement projects and creative solutions. Strategic thinking has become a regular part of community contribution as long-term planning. External relationship management and complex decision-making require sophisticated analysis and judgment. Strategic thinking that serves community welfare requires understanding multiple factors and long-term consequences while maintaining focus on collective benefit. You observe while participating in planning activities that affect community development. External influence has developed as community reputation and individual expertise create opportunities for positive impact on regional development while maintaining autonomy and commitment to community values. External influence that serves community interests while maintaining organizational integrity enables beneficial relationships without compromising community values. Explains the external relations coordinator while discussing regional partnerships and collaboration opportunities. Legacy creation has become conscious activity as awareness of lasting impact and contribution creates motivation for decisions and actions that serve future community welfare rather than immediate personal benefit. Legacy creation that serves community welfare provides meaning that transcends individual circumstances while contributing to institutional development that benefits future members. You reflect while considering how current choices affect long-term community development. Personal fulfillment has emerged from integration of meaningful work, deep relationships, spiritual development, and significant contribution to community welfare that provides comprehensive satisfaction within organizational life. Personal fulfillment that emerges from community service provides more lasting satisfaction than achievement based purely on individual advancement or external recognition. You observe while considering how community membership has affected understanding of success and satisfaction. Community ownership has developed as complete integration creates sense of shared responsibility for community welfare and development that extends beyond individual role or immediate responsibilities. Community ownership that emerges from complete integration creates motivation for decisions and actions that serve collective welfare beyond personal benefit. You reflect while considering how identification with community interests affects decision-making and service. Future confidence has emerged through understanding of community sustainability, individual development, and collective capabilities that enable optimism about continued growth and development despite changing circumstances. Future confidence that emerges from understanding community capabilities and development patterns enables optimism and strategic planning that serves long-term welfare. You observe while participating in planning activities that affect community development and individual opportunities. 20 years into your community life, you've developed profound understanding of human potential, organizational dynamics, and social principles that emerges from sustained experience with collaborative living under structured but ultimately fulfilling circumstances. Human resilience insights have developed through observation of how people adapt to community life, overcome challenges, and develop capabilities that serve both individual growth and collective welfare under circumstances that initially seemed limiting but proved enabling. Human beings possess remarkable capacity for adaptation, growth, and contribution when provided with supportive community and meaningful purpose. You reflect while considering what 2 decades of community life have revealed about human nature and potential. The resilience understanding includes recognition of how challenge can catalyze development, how community support enables individual achievement, and how shared purpose creates meaning that transcends individual limitations or difficulties social. Complexity comprehension has emerged through sustained participation in community governance, relationship management, and conflict resolution that reveals sophisticated principles for collective action and democratic decision-making. Effective community requires balancing individual needs with collective welfare while maintaining communication, flexibility, and commitment to shared values. Observes the governance principles that have evolved through decades of democratic participation and collaborative problem-solving. The social understanding includes recognition of how diversity strengthens community capabilities, how democratic processes enable better decision-making, and how shared responsibility creates stronger commitment than external authority. Economic wisdom has developed through participation in resource management, trade relationships, and productivity. Activities that reveal principles for sustainable prosperity and equitable distribution that serves collective welfare. Economic sustainability requires cooperation, long-term thinking, and resource management that serves community welfare rather than individual accumulation. Explains the economic principles that guide community decision-making and resource allocation. The economic knowledge includes understanding of how cooperation creates prosperity, how sustainability requires environmental stewardship, and how equitable distribution strengthens rather than weakens economic systems. Educational philosophy has evolved through teaching experience and observation of human learning that reveals principles for knowledge development and transmission that serve both individual growth and community advancement. Education that serves human development enables both individual fulfillment and community progress through knowledge, skills, and wisdom that benefit everyone. You observe while considering how learning and teaching have affected community development. The educational understanding includes recognition of how diverse learning styles require varied approaches, how practical application enhances theoretical knowledge, and how teaching strengthens both instructor and student development, leadership. Principles have developed through experience with various forms of authority and responsibility that reveal approaches to guidance and decision-making that serve collective welfare while enabling individual development and contribution. Leadership effectiveness depends on service, competence, and commitment to collective welfare rather than personal advancement or external authority. Reflects the authority principles that have emerged through community governance experience. The leadership understanding includes recognition of how democratic participation improves decision-making, how servant leadership builds trust and cooperation, and how shared responsibility creates stronger organizations than hierarchical control. Cultural insights have developed through participation in community traditions, artistic activities, and social practices that reveal how shared culture strengthens community bonds, while providing outlets for individual expression and creativity. Culture that emerges from shared experience and values provides identity, meaning, and continuity that strengthen community bonds while enabling innovation and adaptation. Observes the cultural development that has occurred through community life. The cultural understanding includes recognition of how traditions preserve valuable knowledge, how artistic expression enhances community life, and how cultural evolution enables adaptation while maintaining essential identity. Spiritual development has evolved through personal exploration and community discussion of meaning, purpose, and transcendence that reveals practical approaches to faith and ethics within collaborative community life. Spirituality that serves both individual growth and community welfare enables personal meaning while contributing to collective flourishing through service and ethical behavior. You reflect while considering how spiritual development has affected Understanding of purpose and meaning. The spiritual understanding includes recognition of how service provides meaning, how community creates spiritual fulfillment, and how practical ethics enhance both individual character and collective welfare. Environmental awareness has developed through sustained connection to natural cycles, resource management, and agricultural activities that reveal principles for sustainable living and environmental stewardship. Environmental stewardship that serves long-term sustainability enables prosperity while preserving natural resources for future generations. Explains the environmental principles that guide community planning and resource management. The environmental understanding includes recognition of how natural systems provide models for sustainable organization, how resource conservation enables long-term prosperity, and how environmental health affects community welfare. Technological wisdom has emerged through experience with tools, innovations, and process improvements that reveal principles for beneficial technology adoption and development that serves human welfare rather than dominating it. Technology that serves human welfare and community development enhances life while preserving human relationships and environmental sustainability. Observes the approach to technological development that has evolved through community experience. The technological understanding includes recognition of how appropriate technology enhances, rather than replaces human capabilities, how innovation should serve community welfare, and how technological choices affect social relationships and environmental health. Historical perspective has developed through understanding of how community practices relate to broader historical patterns while learning from both successful and unsuccessful approaches to collective living and social organization. Historical awareness enables better decision-making by providing perspective on patterns, consequences, and possibilities that extend beyond immediate experience. You observe while considering how community development relates to broader historical trends. The historical understanding includes recognition of how communities have succeeded or failed throughout history, how social innovations have improved human welfare, and how current choices affect future possibilities for human development and social progress. Future vision has evolved through strategic planning and understanding of development patterns that enable optimistic but realistic assessment of possibilities for continued community growth and broader social improvement. Future planning that serves community welfare while accounting for realistic possibilities enables hope and strategic action that creates beneficial change. You reflect while considering how community experience has affected understanding of social possibilities and individual potential. 25 years into your community life, you've reached a level of integration and understanding that enables you to serve as wisdom keeper and community elder while maintaining active contribution to daily life and long-term development. Practical wisdom has developed through decades of experience with human relationships, organizational challenges, and community development that creates understanding applicable to current and future situations requiring judgment and decision-making. Wisdom that emerges from sustained experience with community life enables better guidance for others while providing perspective on challenges and opportunities that require careful consideration. You reflect while considering how accumulated experience serves current community needs. The practical application includes conflict resolution, strategic planning, mentorship guidance, and decision-making support that serves community welfare while drawing on accumulated knowledge and understanding. Community memory has become one of your primary roles as someone who has experienced multiple decades of community development. Preserving institutional knowledge while providing perspective on patterns and changes that affect collective welfare. Community memory that preserves important knowledge and experience enables better decision-making while honoring the contributions of previous community members. Explains the institutional knowledge coordinator while discussing historical preservation and transmission. The memory preservation includes documenting important events, preserving successful practices, recording lessons learned from difficulties, and maintaining awareness of development patterns that serve future planning and decision-making. Elder authority has emerged naturally through demonstrated competence, sustained service, and accumulated wisdom that creates respect and influence within community governance and decision-making processes. Elder authority that emerges from service and wisdom provides guidance that benefits the entire community while maintaining democratic participation and shared responsibility. Observes the governance coordinator while discussing leadership roles and decision-making processes. The elder responsibility includes strategic guidance, conflict resolution, mentorship coordination, and institutional development that serves long-term community welfare while maintaining current operational effectiveness. Wisdom transmission has become primary focus as accumulated knowledge, experience, and understanding requires systematic sharing with community members, who will assume future leadership and responsibility for community development. Wisdom transmission that serves community sustainability enables future leaders to benefit from accumulated experience while adapting to changing circumstances and new challenges. You observe while developing educational programs and mentorship systems. The transmission activities include formal instruction, mentorship relationships, documentation, projects, and systematic knowledge sharing that ensure valuable understanding remains available to future community members. Integration guidance has expanded through counseling and support activities that help community members balance individual development with collective responsibility while maintaining commitment to community values and welfare. Integration guidance that serves both individual fulfillment and community welfare enables people to develop their potential while contributing to collective success. Explains the personal development coordinator while discussing counseling and support programs. The guidance activities include individual counseling, group facilitation, conflict mediation, and development planning that serve both personal growth and community integration. Strategic oversight has become regular responsibility as long-term planning, external relationship management, and complex decision-making require sophisticated analysis and judgment based on accumulated experience and understanding. Strategic oversight that serves community welfare requires understanding patterns, relationships, and consequences that develop through sustained experience with organizational development. You reflect while participating in planning activities that affect community future. The strategic role includes policy development, resource allocation, external relationship management, and institutional development that serve long-term community welfare while maintaining operational effectiveness. Cultural stewardship has evolved through participation in tradition preservation, artistic development, and social practice facilitation that maintains community identity while enabling beneficial innovation and adaptation. Cultural stewardship that preserves valuable traditions while enabling beneficial innovation serves community identity and development. Observes the cultural activities coordinator while discussing artistic programs and traditional celebrations. The cultural responsibility includes tradition preservation, artistic facilitation, celebration coordination, and cultural development that strengthen community bonds while providing outlets for creativity and self-expression. Educational leadership has expanded through curriculum development, instruction coordination, and learning assessment that serves both current educational needs and future community development requirements. Educational leadership that serves community development while enabling individual growth creates comprehensive learning systems that benefit everyone. You observe while reviewing educational programs and learning outcomes. The educational role includes program development, instruction coordination, assessment systems, and learning innovation that serve both individual development and community capability enhancement. Innovation facilitation has developed through technical guidance, creative problem-solving support, and process improvement coordination that enhances community capabilities while maintaining focus on collective welfare. Innovation facilitation that serves community welfare while encouraging creativity enables beneficial development while maintaining organizational effectiveness. Explains the technical development coordinator while discussing improvement projects and creative solutions. The innovation role includes technical guidance, creative facilitation, project coordination, and improvement assessment that serve both technological advancement and community welfare. External representation has become significant responsibility, as community reputation and expertise create opportunities for regional influence. While maintaining autonomy and commitment to community values, external representation that serves community interests while maintaining organizational integrity enables beneficial relationships without compromising community values. You reflect while participating in regional partnerships and collaboration opportunities. The external role includes partnership development, regional coordination, knowledge sharing, and collaborative problem solving that serve both community interests and broader regional welfare. Legacy development has become conscious activity as awareness of lasting impact creates motivation for institutional development, knowledge preservation, and community enhancement that serves future generations. Legacy development that serves community sustainability provides meaning that transcends individual circumstances while contributing to institutional strength that benefits future members. You observe while working on projects that affect long-term community development. The legacy activities include institutional development, knowledge documentation, successor preparation, and community enhancement that ensure continued growth and development beyond individual participation. Fulfillment reflection has enabled recognition that community life has provided comprehensive satisfaction through meaningful work. Deep relationships, spiritual development, and significant contribution that transcends individual limitations. Fulfillment that emerges from community service provides satisfaction that transcends individual achievement while contributing to collective welfare. That extends beyond personal circumstances. You reflect while considering how 25 years of community life have affected understanding of success and meaning. The satisfaction includes professional accomplishment, social fulfillment, spiritual growth, and service contribution that create comprehensive sense of purpose and achievement within collaborative community life. 30 years into your community life, you've reached full maturity within the organizational structure, while maintaining active contribution and continued growth that demonstrates the sustainable satisfaction possible through collaborative living and shared purpose. Identity fulfillment has achieved integration of individual personality, community role, and life purpose that creates comprehensive sense of self and meaning that transcends initial circumstances while honoring personal development and collective contribution. Identity that emerges from community service and personal development provides fulfillment that transcends individual limitations while contributing to collective welfare. You reflect while considering how 3 decades of community life have affected understanding of self and purpose. The identity integration includes professional mastery, social leadership, spiritual maturity, and cultural contribution that create comprehensive sense of belonging and significance within community life. Community ownership has developed into deep identification with institutional welfare and development that creates motivation for decisions and actions that serve collective interests beyond personal benefit or immediate responsibility. Community ownership that emerges from sustained participation creates commitment to collective welfare that transcends individual circumstances while providing meaning and purpose. Observes the governance coordinator while discussing institutional development and member commitment. The ownership expression includes strategic planning, resource stewardship, institutional development, and member welfare that serve long-term community sustainability and growth. Wisdom culmination has created understanding of human nature, social organization, and collaborative living that enables guidance and decision-making that serves both immediate needs and long-term community development. Wisdom that emerges from sustained community experience enables guidance that serves collective welfare while honoring individual development and personal fulfillment. You observe while providing counseling and decision-making support to community members. The wisdom application includes strategic guidance, conflict resolution, mentorship coordination, and institutional development that serve comprehensive community welfare and individual flourishing. Teaching mastery has developed through decades of instruction, mentorship, and knowledge transmission that creates educational systems serving both current learning needs and future community development requirements. Teaching mastery that serves community development while enabling individual growth creates learning systems that benefit everyone while preserving valuable knowledge and experience, explains the education coordinator while reviewing instructional programs and learning outcomes. The teaching effectiveness includes curriculum development, instruction innovation, assessment systems, and knowledge preservation that serve both individual development and institutional sustainability. Leadership maturation has achieved balance of authority and service that enables effective guidance, while maintaining democratic participation and shared responsibility for community welfare and development. Leadership maturation that serves community welfare while maintaining democratic principles enables effective guidance without compromising collective participation and shared responsibility. You reflect while participating in governance activities and decision-making processes. The leadership effectiveness includes strategic planning, consensus building, conflict resolution, and institutional development that serve collective welfare while enabling individual contribution and development. Innovation legacy has created technical improvements, process enhancements, and creative solutions that become part of permanent community capabilities while inspiring continued innovation and development. Innovation legacy that serves community welfare creates lasting improvements while inspiring continued creativity and problem-solving that benefits future community development. Observes the technical development coordinator while reviewing improvement projects and their ongoing impact. The innovation impact includes technical advancement, process improvement, creative solutions, and institutional enhancement that serve both current efficiency and future capability development. Cultural maturation has achieved synthesis of tradition preservation and beneficial innovation that maintains community identity, while enabling adaptation and growth that serves changing circumstances and new member contributions. Cultural maturation that preserves valuable traditions while enabling beneficial innovation serves community identity and development. You observe while participating in cultural activities and traditional celebrations that strengthen community bonds. The cultural contribution includes tradition preservation, artistic development, celebration coordination, and cultural evolution that serve both community identity and adaptive capability. Relationship fulfillment has created deep friendships, professional partnerships, and mentorship connections that provide comprehensive social satisfaction while contributing to community welfare and individual development. Relationship fulfillment that emerges from sustained community participation provides social satisfaction while contributing to collective welfare and individual growth. You reflect while considering how social connections have affected understanding of friendship and community. The relationship satisfaction includes personal friendship, professional collaboration, mentorship guidance, and community service that create comprehensive social fulfillment within collaborative community life. Spiritual completion has achieved integration of personal faith, community service, and life purpose that provides meaning and transcendence, while contributing to collective welfare and individual character development. Spiritual completion that integrates personal faith with community service provides meaning that transcends individual circumstances while contributing to collective welfare. You observe while considering how spiritual development has affected understanding of purpose and ethics. The spiritual fulfillment includes personal meaning, ethical development, community service, and transcendent purpose that create comprehensive spiritual satisfaction within collaborative community life. Legacy assurance has created institutional contributions, knowledge preservation, and community development that ensure continued growth and sustainability beyond individual participation. While honoring personal contribution and collective achievement, legacy assurance that serves community sustainability provides meaning that transcends individual circumstances while ensuring continued development and growth. You reflect while working on projects that affect long-term institutional welfare and development. The legacy contribution includes institutional development, knowledge documentation, successor preparation, and community enhancement that serve future generations while honoring current achievement and contribution. Future confidence has achieved optimism about continued community development and individual fulfillment based on understanding of institutional sustainability, human potential, and collaborative possibilities that serve comprehensive welfare. Future confidence that emerges from understanding community capabilities and human potential enables optimism about continued development and fulfillment. You observe while participating in planning activities that serve long-term community welfare and individual opportunity. The future orientation includes strategic planning, institutional development, capability enhancement, and sustainability. Assurance that serve both current welfare and future possibility for continued growth and fulfillment. As you reflect on the 30-year journey from that first morning when iron chains seemed to represent the end of everything meaningful in life, you realize that what appeared to be destruction was actually transformation, not the death of one person and birth of another, but the evolution of human potential under circumstances that demanded growth beyond anything previously imagined. The iron collar that once symbolized bondage and dehumanization has become simply another tool of community life, no more significant than the work clothes or specialized equipment that enable productive contribution to collective welfare. What once felt like crushing weight has become unnoticed aspect of daily existence, transformed through acceptance and adaptation into practical necessity rather than symbol of oppression. The community that initially seemed like prison has revealed itself as environment that enables human flourishing through collaborative effort, mutual support, and shared purpose. That creates meaning and satisfaction beyond anything achievable through individual effort or competitive advancement. Community life that enables human flourishing while requiring collaborative effort provides fulfillment that transcends individual achievement. You reflect while considering how 30 years of organizational membership have affected understanding of success, meaning, and human potential. The work that initially felt like meaningless drudgery has evolved into skilled contribution that serves collective welfare, while providing individual satisfaction through competence, recognition, and creative expression within supportive community environment. The relationships that began as survival necessities have developed into deep friendships, professional partnerships, and mentorship connections that provide comprehensive social fulfillment while demonstrating human capacity for love and mutual support under any circumstances. The spiritual development that emerged from questioning and struggle has created practical faith that provides meaning through service while offering transcendent purpose that connects individual effort to larger human story of cooperation, growth, and mutual care. Spiritual growth that emerges from community service provides meaning that transcends individual circumstances while contributing to collective welfare and human flourishing. You observe while considering how faith has evolved through 30 years of collaborative living and shared purpose. The leadership responsibilities that developed through demonstrated competence have created opportunities to influence community direction while serving collective welfare through guidance, decision-making, and institutional development that benefits everyone. The wisdom that accumulated through sustained experience with human relationships, organizational challenges, and community development has created understanding that serves current community needs while providing guidance for future generations who will continue the work of collaborative living. Wisdom that emerges from sustained community experience serves collective welfare while providing individual fulfillment through meaningful contribution to human understanding and social development. You reflect while considering how accumulated knowledge and experience contribute to ongoing community development. The legacy that emerges from 30 years of community contribution includes institutional development, knowledge preservation, relationship building, and cultural contribution that will benefit future community members while demonstrating human capacity for positive impact despite challenging circumstances. The person who now looks back on 3 decades of community life bears little resemblance to the frightened individual who once saw iron chains as symbol of hopeless oppression. But the transformation represents growth rather than loss, development rather than destruction, and fulfillment rather than resignation. A personal transformation that serves community welfare while enabling individual fulfillment demonstrates human capacity for growth and adaptation that transcends initial circumstances. You observe while considering how change has affected understanding of identity, purpose, and human potential. The chains that once seemed to represent imprisonment have become symbols of connection, not bondage to masters, but belonging to community, not submission to oppression, but commitment to collective welfare, not loss of individual identity, but discovery of meaning through service to others. The future that stretches ahead offers continued opportunities for contribution, growth, and fulfillment within community life that has demonstrated its capacity to enable human flourishing through collaborative effort and mutual support that serves both individual development and collective welfare. Future possibility that emerges from community life enables continued growth and contribution while providing meaning that transcends individual circumstances. You reflect while considering how 30 years of organizational membership have affected understanding of human potential and social possibility. The story that began with apparent destruction concludes with recognition that human dignity and potential cannot be destroyed by external circumstances when people choose cooperation over competition, service over self-interest, and community, welfare over individual advancement. The iron collar remains, but its meaning has been transformed through acceptance, adaptation, and discovery that freedom exists not in absence of commitment, but in choice of worthy commitments that serve. Purpose is larger than individual satisfaction while enabling personal growth and fulfillment through collaborative effort and mutual support. This is how the story of apparent bondage becomes a story of liberation, not through escape from circumstances, but through transformation of circumstances into opportunities for human flourishing, community development, and discovery that the deepest satisfaction comes from contributing to collective welfare while maintaining individual dignity and continuing personal growth within collaborative community life. The chains have become symbols not of oppression but of connection, not of limitation but of belonging, not of ending but of beginning, that continues to unfold through daily choices to serve community welfare while pursuing individual development and maintaining faith in human potential for growth, adaptation, and mutual support that transcends any external circumstances or limitations. The journey from apparent slavery to actual freedom has been internal transformation, enabled by external community that demonstrates human capacity for finding meaning, purpose, and fulfillment under any circumstances when people choose collaboration over competition and service over self-interest while maintaining Commitment to both individual development and collective welfare that benefits everyone.